Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Schul. I've been on Wall Street for a little over 20 years, and I recently created a data science channel devoted to all kinds of techniques using machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning, um, data science, things like this. I tend to focus a lot on Wall Street topics, but not exclusively, so I deviate from that a little bit, and I focus mostly on Python, pretty much almost exclusively Jupyter notebooks, but every once in a while I take a break from that, tap out for just a bit, and discuss items related to Excel. So I spent a lot of time in Excel for the first decade of my career. On Wall Street, you use Excel pretty much exclusively. There are some other tools. Some people use Python and R, but by and far, the majority of people just use Excel, right? So once in a while, if I find a cool tip or technique or something like that that I feel is valuable, I can share it with you guys here on the channel, even though it's not really the data science. I think there is a lot of crossover, and I think enough people use Excel that it warrants discussing some of these topics, because I think it will behoove you to know some of these things. If not today, probably sometime in the near future. So one technique that I was exposed to fairly recently is unpivoting data, and I work a lot with pivot tables, of course. And with pivot tables, you can do some pretty cool things, pivoting and unpivoting. If I go over here, I can insert a pivot table right here. It is going to show me the dancing ants. If you look closely, you see these little tiny black borders that seem to kind of be animated, and they go around the perimeter of the data that I selected here. So ants and dancing, I guess dance ants kind of rhymes, so that's where they came up with that. So we have a table range of table 2, and I'm going to insert this onto a new worksheet. And if you look close, you can see it goes around the top edge of the table from, let's see, from A2 down to G57. I think that's it. So if I hit OK, we'll have the pivot table, and I can try to go ahead and do a pivot over here. So if we have breakdown, I think this is going to be my rows. TTM is going to be, let's see, my columns, and I think, wait a second, that's actually, I think I want that down here. Okay, let me get rid of that, and then put TTM over there. The index is going to go above the breakdown, and I want these to be kind of like, let's see, if I go over here, pivot table options, we can go to display, classic pivot table, enter. Okay, so we have the index kind of lining up with the breakdown over here, but I have to get a lot of these. Let me see. Where is this? Group, ungroup, remove, filter, pivot table options, subtotal. I don't want the subtotal, so let's get rid of that. Okay, so I have the index. 55 is free cash flow, and 55 is free cash flow there, so that matches up. And index 0 is operating cash flow, and we have 122, 145. This is in thousands, so 122 billion. This is Microsoft cash flow statement. So we have operating cash flow. That is good. And over here, we have a count. I really want count. I really want the value setting. Some count product, vary average, min-max product. So none of these really make sense over here. I can put this over here and try to get rid of this item over here. So if I hit this, let me see, subtotal TTM. Let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. I think the subtotal was actually on this first column. Oh, that's okay. That's fine. So we have the TTM data over here, but I really want that. No, actually, it's fine. It's fine. I want that TTM. I really want TTM kind of on the side over here, but that's messing up my breakdown. So I can switch that back. And you can see it's kind of difficult to work with this pivot table. The problem is I'm trying to get 4 unique, distinct columns here with the index, the breakdown, and the dates. I want the dates pivoted vertically, and then all the values relative to all these dates. So the traditional pivot table is not easy to use at all when you're trying to do something like this. When you're trying to melt the data frame or stack it, it really is kind of obtuse and it doesn't really work quite so well. So let me delete that. Okay, that is kind of a misaligned solution where you're trying to convert everything into 4 unique columns. So you have the index, the breakdown, the dates, which should be arranged vertically, and then all of the numbers, which would be arranged all relative to these dates. So one way to kind of look at this, we know the pivot table isn't going to work. I can create a new data set like this, put this over here. So I'm going to copy and paste that. And I want that to be expanded a little bit and shrunk down a little bit. Around 15, 13 to 15 is good, I think. Then let me go over here, get this over here. So TTM is trailing 12 months, and I have the dates over here. I'm going to take that, convert that to that, and pivot that. Base special, it's actually called transpose. I'm going to transpose that. Now, this is starting to look okay, except that I have to put this down here. Okay, and I'm going to fill in the zeros with that. And the operating cash flow is going to be filled in with that. Okay, and then I have the dates over here, so things are coming together. It's looking pretty good. Then I have the dates like this, and the values over here. So I'm going to copy and paste that right down here. Paste special and transpose like that. Okay, so I have my values, I have my dates. TTM is actually 176. TTM is actually there. 220. Okay, so 122 to 7,622 billion to 76 billion, and I have that, and these are values. VALUs. And I have my breakdown and I have my index, right? Something looks off a little bit. TTM. Oh, I see. Okay, so that's that. I got it. Okay. So you can see right here, whoops, I actually missed that. Control, Enter, Paste, and I have the values there. TTM. Actually, something is not lining up. I have TTM and those 4 dates. So why would that be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Oh, you know what? I see. Okay, let me undo dates. Oops, and he's misspelled it too. Okay, so the point is, don't do this, guys. This is insane kind of way to work. I've seen people do this because maybe they don't know any better or they have nothing better to do. I'm not sure. But this is just a non-starter here. This is not, it's not going to work. We're going to make a lot of mistakes like you already saw, and it's going to take the rest of the day. So let me introduce you to a topic of Unpivot and show you how these things work. And it's really pretty amazing the way that this is set up and executed. I think you're going to enjoy it. I think you're going to be kind of blown away. Okay, so what I just discussed for the last 7 or 8 minutes, just totally disregard that. That is what you don't want to do, but I think a lot of people take that approach because they don't know any better. Okay, if we go over here into data and let's see, get data, we can get data from this table and we can go from other sources. And there's lots of source data here. We have some Excel workbook, a CSV, a JSON string, XML. We go down here from a database. That's great. In many cases, we're actually going from Excel into a database, so we don't want to pull from a database. And we have our queries over here from sources, table or range. Okay, so I'm going to pick my table or range. I have this set up with the index, the breakdown. You can see TTM and then the 4 dates over to the right. We want to take this and create 4 unique columns, 1 index, 1 breakdown, 1 date, and then 1 value, and that's it. So when everything is set up, we're going to have just 4 columns. We're going to load that into a database, and you're going to see how this works in just a second here. Okay, so we have the index, we have the breakdown, we have our dates. So TTM is trailing 12 months. Again, this comes from Microsoft. You saw the site over here, Microsoft cash flows. Which one is it? I think this is the guy. Okay, so we have 122 billion. Remember, this is all in thousands, to 76 billion, and then at the end we have free cash flow 76 billion and 56 billion. So that's what we see over here too, right? Ending up with 76 billion, and slide over to the right a little bit, 56 billion over here, going back to 9/30/2020, and again we have 122 billion and what was that? 76 billion for operating cash flow. So rather than doing that insane method that I just showed you, we can select on the columns right here. We want to convert this into a stacked or melted data frame, or in Excel, it's just called columns and rows, right? And in Python, it would be a data frame. But you take everything from a wide format and you jam it into 4 columns that has a long format. So it's long and unpivoted. Wide or pivoted is the way the format shows up. Now, we want to go ahead and hit transform and then unpivot columns. Click on the down arrow and you'll have 3 options. You can pick unpivot columns. They'll do everything. Unpivot other columns, which is everything that's not selected. I selected this to make it a little bit easier. You can select the columns you don't want to unpivot, kind of counterintuitive, but that's the opposite, or select the columns that you want to pivot and then click this, okay? So in a fraction of a second, you can see what's done here. You have the index, the breakdown, attribute, and then value. We can go ahead and hit home, close, and load, and it will automatically convert a new worksheet or create a new worksheet and then convert everything to this long melted format. Now the advantage here, I can have uniques, Q-U-N-I-Q-U-E-S, and if I do this, index and, let me put a space there and concatenate this, and space and that. Oh, yep, that's fine. Okay. So we can say that these are all uniques, okay? These are all unique items that I tried to copy and whoops, I got too far there. Sorry about that. Let me go to here, okay? And we say we have how many uniques here? Let me put this on a new sheet just to illustrate the point of what we're doing here. Oh, it didn't even go. Okay, so let me copy that again. Copy, yep, and paste special values. Paste special values. Come on, you can do it. I know you can. You've got it in you. And there we have nothing. Nothing gets copied, I guess. Oh wait, because it's a reference. Okay. Oh, I know why. Because I copied the other column. Okay, so I gotta love it. So yeah, so easy to make mistakes with Excel, right? That's why I don't really use this thing too much anymore. But every once in a while, I guess there is a need for this kind of thing. So paste special values. And if I go over here to, let's see, data, remove duplicates, we can see these are all unique, so nothing gets removed. No duplicate values found, exactly what I want. Okay, so you can create a unique index and look up any value over here in this column, okay, column values. It's not even has a A, B, C, D. Oh, column D, yes. So column D, because these are all unique, you can type in any kind of unique value and you'll get this this number right here. So that is great in the database world. Also works in the Excel world. Excel, I think this view is a little bit more intuitive. You have all the dates spread out horizontally and all the values underneath. That makes sense. If you share this with other people, it's going to get messy real quick. You already saw I made a couple mistakes, and I've been doing this for a couple of decades. You click on the wrong thing or fat finger key, and you have all kinds of mistakes. If you convert this into a long format, right, unpivoted, and load this into a database, you could store it in a structured, safe format. Nobody's going to get in there and mess around with your numbers and accidentally recalibrate things or restate numbers and just make a mistake. It's just an accident. It's an honest accident. That's what an accident is, right? It's unintentional. We didn't expect that to happen. It's an accident, but accidents still happen, and it costs money to firms all the time. If you don't believe me, you can Google this. I'll just show you one quick example here. Costly Excel. Okay, just type whatever you want relative to this kind of term, and you can see the worst financial service Excel errors of all time. It already seems ominous. Do we really want to go too far down this path? Probably not. This cost Blizzard $400 million because of double counted sum of the company's projected indebtedness. Okay, it sounds like a mistake was made, unintentional, but still, that's a big mistake. $400 million mistake. Lose out $100 million here. Okay, so what was the problem? The numbers contained in the spreadsheet accurately reflected the portion of equity awards represent restricted stock was also included in common stock. Uh-oh, that's a problem. You can't do that, guys. Okay, here's one called the London Whale. This goes back in time a little bit. It's 2025. This was like 13 years ago. But I guarantee people haven't forgot 13 years ago and still on people's radars today. $6.2 billion mistake. And what was the issue here? Part of the bank's hedging strategy, but the value at risk was not calculated appropriately, and losses of $2 billion were started. That was just the start. Oh my God, it gets better and better. So eventually, salary being halved from 23 million to 11.5 million, $920 million in fines. Oh, it goes on and on, guys. So anyways, the best thing you could do is store your data in the database, not an Excel spreadsheet. Get your unique values right here. I can actually delete that. But once it is in this format, you can load that into a database. You have your index here, your breakdown here, your attribute, which is trailing 12 months, and then the dates, and these repeat. But again, it's a different line item over here, right? The line item is cash flow from continuing operations, net income from continuing operations, operating gain and losses, right? So you see that right here, operating cash flows, net income from continuing operating gains, losses. So everything is taken and converted into 4 columns from, could be any number of columns here. We have 7, I believe, but you can have 57, you can have 107. It doesn't matter. You can convert everything down into 4 columns. And you can have all your values here stacked vertically. Okay, so this is called unpivot, or melted. In the pandas data framework world, this is unpivoted. This is a melted data frame, and Excel is called an unpivot. Now, how do we get back to the original data set if we wanted this again? Okay, we can hide this worksheet. We can do a bunch of different things. We can hide that in the back. If we hit Alt F11, we can see that the worksheet is still there, right? I think it is still there. Microsoft Cash Flow. We just can't see it, right? But if we go back here, we can unhide it. And where's the hidden sheet? It's right there. Double click it to unhide, and it's back, right? So we can convert this almost like to a database view or database look and feel. But let's say you want to get back into an Excel view. How can you do that? So if we go over here to pivot, I have a note I just made before, because the first time I did this, I made a mistake too. It's very easy to make mistakes in Excel, right? So get data from table or range. Let's go back here to our query editor. This is Power Pivot. Now we want to go unpivot. We want to pivot this data. It's unpivoted, so it's taken from a long format or a wide format. Sorry, just misstated again. It's taken from a wide format, which is pivoted, into a long format, which is unpivoted. This is the unpivoted view, which is long format. Wide format is everything spread out. So let's go ahead and select the date and the value. So this would be the date and this would be the value. I can select these 2 items, and we can go over here to transform and to pivot column. And let's see if I can actually get this right on the first try, or do we have to come back and do it again? We can go to value right here. This is what we want to pick. We don't want breakdown or index. Okay, we want to pivot it. It's based on the value. We want to explode it based on the value. And advanced options, we can pick don't aggregate, because we don't want to count. We don't want to take an average or mean or standard deviation or anything like that. We don't want to aggregate. We want to get back to the original format, right, which was pivot format. And that's what you can see here. So I'm going to hit home, close, and save. And I'm going to label this as pivot. Okay, so it's loading up, and we have pivot, P-I-V-O-T. And I got it right in the first try. Congratulations. Good job there, Ryan. Okay, so go over here. Let's just add some formatting, just for me at least. A little bit easier to read. My eyes are getting bad as I'm getting older. But that's a whole nother story for another day. So 122 million to 76, billion. These are billions because this is all in thousands, right? So 122, 1 for 5. Let's make that yellow. And this guy too, let's make the whole first thing yellow, okay? So it matches that. 122 billion to 76 billion, and we have operating cash flow. So that matches that. Operating cash flow, 122 to 76, and we have our dates in the original format, just like you asked for, right? Okay, you're really getting your money's worth today. Look at this, guys. And down here, index number 5 5. So 55. We start in 0. It's really 56 if you count this up. You can see count is 56. In the Pandas Python world, everything is 0 based. In the Excel world, everything is 1 based. So we have 56 rows, but we start with 0 just to keep the same convention that we would have in Python or some type of structured database format. So we have to pivot here. Yes, now we go down here to 55, which is really 56. Let me make it orange, just so it jives with the other thing. We have 76 billion. Let me blow it up just a bit. 76 billion. And of course, we get pound signs over here. Let me get rid of that. Whoops. Yeah, okay. So double click to expand. Doesn't do that. Used to. Oh, I guess in a table format it doesn't. Okay. That's fine. Doesn't matter. 76 billion to 56 billion. And we have this free cash flow. If we go back here, 76 billion to 56 billion free cash flow. So there we went from the pivoted view, which is the wide format, to the unpivoted view, which is the long or melted format. And we have our unpivoted data here. Everything's stacked. All you need is 4 columns. Remember, index, breakdown, attribute, and then value. And then if you need to get back into the pivot view, that is easy to do too. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to keep it short, just like I promised. Probably already went over a little bit over my expected allotted time frame here. Sorry, apologize for that. Okay, I'll try to keep the next one even shorter. One of these days I'll get it right, okay? So that's it. We went from the standard view from the view over here. I think that I actually shut that down. Yeah, I already shut it down. Okay, it doesn't matter. No, I didn't. It's actually here, hidden behind the Excel errors thing over here. So we went from the traditional view here, which financial people love. It's all spread out on the side. Database people and IT people and data science people like this view over here, right? The unpivoted long view, because you can structure in the database and maintain credibility and integrity over that data very quickly and easily. This, there's no data integrity whatsoever, and this, there's no data integrity, but some people prefer this, right? And some people prefer this. Now you can accommodate everybody's wants and needs and desires quickly and easily. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for your time today, guys. I will see you in the next video, which I'm going to push out pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks. Bye.